What's up, everybody? Welcome back to Wrench Trench Garage. So yeah, it's like another week later. It's just been busy, a lot of work going on. But today I'm gonna get back on the Z, like I promised, and just to show you where we are. Here we have our parts here, and look, they're coming out pretty darn clean. Maybe a little scrub brush. And go ahead and I'm going to have to use a little baking soda and water to neutralize all the acid in there. I understand this stuff is reusable, so I'll reuse it again. I'll put it back in some containers. What we have here is, you see how bad the cartridges and stuff look. So I'm going to go ahead and clean those up, and I'm going to hit them with like a little scrubby pad and and then repaint these, make them look a little better. Here's the other one just to show you. So yeah, same thing, clean them up, paint them, make them look nice and fresh. It'll look good against these nice red lowering springs. So let me get down to it. I have a lot to do. So yeah, I'm not gonna try to do too much talking here. I'm just giving you the preview of what's going on. I'm gonna start cleaning these up, getting these painted, and then over here, I can go ahead and start installing the rest of the stuff. I'm actually thinking of doing a little teeny cleanup in here and putting a little bit of black paint on that too, just to spiffy it up a little bit. So yeah, I'm gonna get started, and yeah, see you in a second. Okay, so this is what I ended up doing. I ended up spraying this with some of this little rust reformer here. I've used this before. Tends to work okay. Good for the purposes I'm using it for. Basically what it does is you spray it on any spots that have rust or some corrosion. You get the worst of it off, and then you spray this on it, and it converts any leftover rust into like a paintable surface, and it dries quick, and it's pretty good. But you see any little rust spots that I did, I went ahead and hit them with this stuff here. It's still a little wet, but no big deal. I'll flip it over and let it dry after I paint the other side. But, you know, just to kind of get the rest reforming there. I ended up going in the house, and I got I went ahead and filled these little jugs up with water. And I'm going to go ahead and hit these with some paint. Now that this is relatively dry, I'm going to paint this. And then while the black paint is drying, I'm gonna go ahead and mix up my baking soda and water mixture here. So I'm gonna clean it up with that, give this like a baking soda bath, scrub it down with this little brush here, and then I'm going clean it off with a little bit of soap and water, or some degreaser or something like that, just to make sure everything's off. And then I'm gonna go over it lightly with some WD-40, just wipe it down with some WD-40 to keep any other corrosion off of it until it's actually installed in the tank. So that's the move. I'm gonna do that now. You're going back on time lapse. See you in a bit. Alright guys, so I gave this thing its little bath of baking soda and water mixture. And this thing, look how good that thing came out. It is incredible. I'm gonna finish this off with a few little more scrubbing, a little bit more scrubbing here. And then I'm gonna rinse it off with some regular water or some degreaser or something just to get everything off of there. And then I'm gonna go ahead and spray this down with some WD-40 to make sure that it doesn't come back. Look at that, that thing is, there's no rust on this freaking thing. It's awesome. All right, so I'm gonna do that and I'll get back with you. Okay, so I managed to get my little mixture inside of the tank here. This is the baking soda water mixture. I already used the baking soda water mixture. Here's the old pump hanger. Here's the pump hanger from the Z, which is all nice and clean now. So basically with this, I wanted to make sure that this thing actually powered on and worked. I know it does, but peace of mind, and you know, so you guys will also know that this thing works. The positive one and touch it to the other side, and then you should hear it kick on. So it works. Happy about that. So we're gonna have this air motor fuel pump going into the Z. We're gonna attach it to this hanger. It'll be a nice little upgrade, even though it's not a turbo, and it would work better in a turbo application. And in case somebody wants to throw a turbo on this thing after I sell it, hey, they already got the juice for it. So I'm gonna go ahead and attach this, and I'll show you the end result. But yeah, actually I got the little pump mod done. I had to cut that little lip off right there. That lip is on every side like that. I just cut that side off. I test fitted it in the tank, and it seems just fine. You can see down in there, it's much cleaner. But you know, a little wipeout ain't gonna hurt nothing. And then I'm gonna rinse it a little bit better with a little bit of water. But you see, most of that rust that's in there, all the way up to that line, is all gone. So yeah, I'm gonna do one more little rinse out on this thing, and I think we're good. I gotta be honest with you today. A couple of things just ain't perfect, but some of this stuff I'm gonna have to live with. So to start off, I started putting the suspension together, and it looks awesome. What I did was I used some bed liner inside the wheel wells, and that looks really good, and it should be tough and hold up nice. However, these here that I keep painting over and over again, they don't want to be shiny. I keep using gloss, but they keep coming out like satin. Same thing over here. I painted it again. I went to the store, got some more paint, and it just keeps coming out like this satin kind of deal. And I don't really know why. It's not glossy, but you know what? I'm gonna have to live with it. It looks better than it did. There's no rust spots. It's a nice even, well, semi-even paint. And it's still gonna look good against the red. So that's one thing I gotta live with. The other thing that I had a problem with is this fuel tank. After using the vinegar treatment, it cleaned the tank really good. The vinegar thing was awesome. It even worked here on the, and it looks good. It looks really good. There's like, it's all metal. No, that's not rust. That's just, you know, just metal. All the rust is gone off of that. But you see, I got, you know, bloody rags. I cut my finger. But anyway, that turned out good. But when I went back to get with the tank again, it started to try to rust over again, like a flash rusting, which was supposed to stop if you use baking soda, you know, like a baking soda mixture. So I don't know why it did that. So I spent the last couple of hours cleaning the tank again. I didn't use vinegar this time. I just basically scrubbed the surface rust as much as I can get my arm back there using, you know, various tools and reaching things to get back there to clean it out. And it's still, you know, it's clean, It ain't perfect. It ain't gonna be perfect, but it's, you can see that it's relatively clean into the sides. You know, it's still relatively clean, but it tried to rust over on me. So my new recommendation is do not use the vinegar treatment. It will flash rust the next day. If you're gonna use vinegar, still use the baking soda treatment afterwards. But then after that, while the metal is still really, really clean and everything, what I ended up doing is putting some WD-40 on a rag and some of this other stuff, and I reached down in there and I swabbed the whole inside of the tank with WD-40 to prevent the flash rusting again. But the recommendation now is if you're gonna use the vinegar, you're gonna have to rust treat it directly after it with whatever you're gonna use. I use WD-40. It works fine for me. Matter of fact, I use WD-40 on this directly after taking it out of the vinegar and using the baking soda water to neutralize the acid. And right after that, I just cleaned it up with some WD-40, and you see it's perfectly dry. There's no flash rusting whatsoever, and that actually turned out really, really good using WD-40. No. So next thing we're gonna do today is, as you see, I've already started getting the springs in there. I had to get these rubber isolators. If you're working on a Z31 Nissan, you're gonna only be able to get these from the dealership. They run about $30. And I needed two. The top isolators, I'm gonna pull this out so you can see. These are the top isolators, the original ones, and they were in really, really, really good shape. That white stuff is just nothing. But these were the top isolators don't get beat up as much as the bottom isolators. So the top isolators turn out good. I kept them. If I hadn't, they're about $35 from the dealership. So those are a few things. So those are in there now. I just stuck this in there just to do a little testing with it. But the struts here, I'm gonna go ahead and decompress the strut, and I'm gonna start fitting this in here, and you guys can go along with me. Probably won't time lapse. I'll probably just do some editing. So yeah, stick with me. Alright, so if you're wondering why I'm back and I haven't installed these things yet, because I looked at them and I decided to put a little bit of paint on them. It dries quick. It'll be dry in about 10-15 minutes, and I'll go ahead and continue with the process, so sit tight with me and we'll make it happen. Alright guys, so while I was waiting for the paint to dry over here, I went ahead and assembled the front struts. Did the front strut assembly. So just to show you, now I'm undoing it just to show you how I did it. But it's the same. It's just the reverse of doing them the first time. Basically, I put the rubber seal in there, which holds this in place You drop, you put the strut cartridge in first, then the seal, and then I went ahead and put a little bit of anti-seize on this because these are a pain in the ass to take off once they've been on there for a while. And then you just basically screw this down, and then I'll probably just torque it with a pipe wrench. So once it's nice and tight, you just torque it down with a pipe wrench, and there you go. Then you put your assemblies on top, which I'll show you in a little bit. But for now, I'm just doing these few little things just until this paint's dry. Then I'm going to install the rear. Then we can go ahead and install the front. And then we can put the tank in. And then we can test out my new contraption here. As you see, I got some of the wiring done. It's just loosely done for now because I just want to kind of just test it. And then I will solder these, heat shrink them, heat wrap them, and then this should be good to go. I shouldn't have any issues there. All right, so onward. Okay guys, I finally got that thing in. I had to wrestle with it, and you didn't have to see all that, but basically the shocks are in, springs are in, they're all preloaded properly. And as far as that little boot up there, the way it's done, yeah, I know this thing is supposed to be like facing down the other way, and this boot sits on top, but it just like sat there and flopped around, and I didn't like it. So I put it this way because it looks like it's more covered, it looks more complete, and it doesn't seem to flop around as bad, and it sticks right inside that little hole up there. So it seems better to me. And anybody want to argue with me about that? It's just a piece of plastic. They don't cost much. Something happens, I'll either replace it or I'll do it like the factory did with the cup facing down with the rod exposed. No big deal. Nobody will probably see it anyway because it's going to be lowered with the wheels on there. And as long as the preload is good, and as long as the spring and the shocks are installed properly at proper torque specs, we shouldn't have an issue. So I'm good with that. On to the other side. You can see the springs are in, shocks are in, and it's been bed lined in here. So I've also done the other side. Shocks in, springs in, everything's good there. And one of the strut assemblies is complete. I'm now working on the other one. So I'm gonna go ahead and finish that up. And then maybe we'll get this tank in there tonight. And see what happens after that. Alright, so I'm gonna keep on working. I actually had to stop. I stopped and I honestly, man, I stopped and got me a beer. So just gonna keep it moving. Alright guys, so we finally are getting toward getting some progress done on this thing. What we have here is we have both of the shocks. Struts completely done. Front struts completely done. And now I've gone ahead and started moving the tank underneath the vehicle. See it there? And it's time to start putting that bad boy in. So I'm gonna start putting that in, start bolting it up, and I'll let you know when I'm done. Alright guys, so I'm working on the fuel the fuel tank. And yeah, I know I was a little premature trying to put that thing in. I almost forgot to put the pump in. So yeah, what I did was I hooked it up to the main here, and if I turn the key, this should cycle. So let's see if I did my wiring correctly. So I turned the key, it works. I cut it off immediately as soon as I heard it because I don't want to burn out the pump. These things are designed to be soaked in fuel while they're running, and I have destroyed many of them just testing because I over tested them. So there we go. Pump's working. I'm gonna go ahead and throw this thing in the tank, and yeah, we should be good. Whoever gets this vehicle is gonna have a nice little aeromotive upgrade here. So yeah, back at you.